I got fired from that security guard because I was studying on the job. I was reading and falling asleep on the job. So I got fired as a security guard. My father emphasized education very, very much because he couldn't go to college or go to school and he knew how to read and write. He wanted all his kids to be educated. And he did everything possible to make sure he sent us to school. My name is Peter Bamidele Ashaolu. I'm with Orishua Daniel Etuwewe on Who and What Next.
Okay, so can we meet you? Who is Mr. Peter Ashaolu?
Well, Peter Bamidele Ashaolu is number 2 of the 6 children. Born to Mr. Joseph Oluwafemi Ashaolu, deceased 13 years ago, and to Mrs. Rhoda Ashaolu, 95-year-old, still living in Ado Ekiti, Ekiti State, Nigeria. I was born in 1952, February. Like I said, with 5 other siblings. I'm number 2. Married to my childhood friend, Bola Ashaolu. We met in 1973, December, and we've been married since then. We have 5 children, 5 boys and a girl, with 3 grandchildren.
Wow, congrats.
Thank you. Toby, who is the oldest, and the twins, Yemi and Shola.
Okay. So how was growing up like for you? Was it in the States or was it in Nigeria, the West Africa?
Growing up, like I said, with my family, who I would consider them not very rich. As a matter of fact, they were business people, struggling. The people always say upper class, middle class, and lower class. I would consider them lower class because they're struggling business people. My father and mother did not go to college. They did not even go to high school. They're not educated. But my father can read and write because he was trained when the missionary came to Nigeria a long time ago on adult education. So my father can read and write, but did not go to college or go to high school. So we mean my father emphasized education very, very much because he couldn't go to college or go to school and he knew how to read and write. He wanted all his kids to be educated. And he did everything possible to make sure he sent us to school. So growing up, I went to primary school in Ibadan, St. Peter Primary School, Okeare, Ibadan, from primary 1 to primary 3.
Okay.
Then I relocated to Efanlayi, Ekiti State, to continue my primary school education from primary 4 to primary 6. Graduated elementary school in 1965, December. January 1966, moved back to Ibadan with my parents. And 1968,
Okay.
I went to high school. From 1968 to 1972, graduated from high school, Bengal Diomo Anglican Grammar School in Osun State. Left high school, worked for P&T. P&T is Post Telegraph. This is the modern day of Nitel.
Oh, that was pro.
Post and Telegraph.
Okay.
I was hired as a technician installing telephone. And I did that from 1973 to 1976. That's how I discovered technology. From there, I decided to get admission to United States to study computer technology. Went to San Jose State from 1978 to 1981. Got my first degree in industrial technology. Got my master's in 1983 in industrial technology and got my MBA in 1985.
So what was your childhood dream, sir? You know, because all along you were talking about how you left your primary school to high school. Then from high school, you started working with the PNT. Post and Telegraph. So was that your childhood dream that one day you're going to get into the IT world?
The answer is no. When I was growing up, I wanted to be in entertainment. Why? Because I discovered quickly in my childhood that I was gifted in acting. I would go to sleep, dream of play, and I would write that play, including songs, when I was a teenager. And when I got into high school, I started writing plays, writing songs, and people were playing it out, and that's how I realized that was my call. But growing up, the entertainer at my time, they were as poor as church rats. They were not making any money. So my parents, because they were poor, they didn't want me to go to a profession that will not bring money. So they said, no, I need to come up with a different profession. So when I started working P&T, that's where I decided I wanted to be like our general manager who had an engineering degree. So I started getting into technology. And when I wanted to select career, I selected electronics technology. That's when I started looking for admission to United States.
So please, what influenced your choice in terms of, where to study education-wise? You talked about the United States, In those days, I was probably very little then. I used to hear from older folks that the US wasn't, the right place, in quote. People back then used to talk about going to Britain to study law and all. So why the US? Why did you make a choice for the US to come study?
Let me just say divine intervention. What God has ordained, nothing will change it. When I say divine intervention and what God has ordained, I was working at P&T at that time, Post and Telegraph. I was a telephone installer. Our general manager's background was in technology or in engineering. I wanted to be like him. So when I was looking for places to get admission into technology, I was looking into the US, and luckily a colleague of mine at work, P&T, was filling out a lot of forms to get admission. And I asked him, hey, can you give me one of those forms? So he gave me a school in Tampa Technical Institute. That's in Florida, Tampa Technical Institute. He gave me that form. That was the only form that I filled out, and I got admission to that school. And left P&T 1976, October, to come to Florida, Tampa, Florida. stayed in Tampa Technical Institute for 3 months. Because it was a vocational school, I transferred to California,
Okay.
where I started my engineering or technology degree. My stepping stone was a college called Coxwell College in San Francisco. I was here to do a general education
Okay.
for 18 months and then transferred to San Jose State in 1978. That's where I got my first degree.
So when you were talking about your parents, you said they were, they weren't rich.
No.
So how did you fund your education then?
Good question. Believe it or not, after paying for that technical school in Florida for 2 quarters, I paid for 2 quarters of education and accommodation. I came to this country with less than $147 in my pocket. $147 in my pocket. Received some little money from home for about a year, just little, for about a year, and my education in the United States was self-funding after that. I was working 2 jobs and go to school full-time to support my education.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Very interesting, sir.
It's like a miracle because it's almost impossible. But what God has ordained, nobody can change it. God made it happen. I was able to do my general education again over my O-level, because my O-level in Nigeria wasn't good. I have to redo it. To get into engineering, I have to redo my O-level. As a matter of fact, O-level in Nigeria, if you're going to go into engineering, you have to have physics, chemistry, and math. I did not have physics in Nigeria. I did not even take physics to graduate in high school. I have to do O-level in engineering for 18 months in order to get admitted to engineering school. But once I redid that O-level, it took me, with dedication, it took me 2.5 years to get my engineering degree at San Jose State after that. Lot of hard work, sleepless night. For my first 2 years in Nigeria, in US, I was having less than 3 hours sleep for 2 years per day. Because that's all sleep you can have if you're working 2 jobs and carry full load in engineering degree. But it paid off, thank God.
Yeah. Okay, sir. So when you graduated, did you just get, a job straight away? Was it in Microsoft or wherever? What were the stepping stones? Did you?
Remember I told you I was working 2 jobs. One of the jobs was a security guard. As a security guard. As God will have it, in my third year in college, I got fired from that security guard because I was studying on the job. I was reading and falling asleep on the job. So I got fired as a security guard. That prompted me to go look for a job in an electronics company. So my first electronics company was a company called Tandem Computer in Cupertino. Got a job as a technician, testing a printed circuit board assembly. Or you could just say testing components for the system, for the computer system. Luckily for me, that company paid for my undergraduate, to complete my undergraduate, paid for my master's program and even paid for my MBA.
Oh.
So I was lucky I was fired from the security guard to get a job in that company. That's how I funded my education. The company that sponsored me, I was so devoted and grateful to their support. I stayed with them even with my first degree and second degree still working for that company. But unfortunately, they did not compensate me for my education other than paying for my school. Even after my first degree, they were still using me as a technician. So when I finished my master's program, I realized I should not be working as a technician with a master's program degree. So I left that company, went to a company called Timeshare as a senior engineer, from technician to be a senior engineer. From Timeshare, I went to a company called Atala as a manager of quality engineering. I was hired to form and start a quality engineering department. 6 months after I joined Atala, my old company, Tandem Computer, came and bought Atala. That's how I became overnight manager with the same company that I was a technician.
That's an interesting story.
Yes. So if God is ready to promote you, nobody can stop you. That's how it happened. The miracle happened second time. That's how I got promoted from being a technician for that company to a manager. And HP, Hewlett Packard, came and bought Tandem Computer. And I was Hewlett Packard or Tandem Computer till 1996, after 17 years, because they bridged my years of service. I was with HP for 17 years. Then I got hired by Cisco System in 1996, December, as a senior engineer, and then became a manager. Retired 2018 as a technical leader, which is equivalent of a senior manager.
How can immigrants be successful in a society like this, out of their country, out of their native home, regardless of their skin color?
Okay. Well, African by our nature, we are very rugged. We know how to beat odds, how to beat obstacles. Maybe because of our upbringing, our background, and because of our spiritual grounding. Most of us were spiritually grounded before we even came to this country. Remember my story. What drove my career? First of all, you gotta have a goal. In life, whether you're immigrant, even people that are born here, you have to have a goal. What was my goal growing up? Number one, I didn't want to be poor. I want to be better than my parents. So by so doing, get education. Coming here to another country, you cannot, underline, you cannot forget that goal. Set a goal, number one. Number two, be focused. You gotta be focused and determined. If you are focused and determined with spiritual grounding, with prayers, things will fall in place. The challenge we have as immigrants coming to Western countries, especially United States, is we have this thing called American dream, which is the dream that we all came here for. But as soon as we get here, we get distracted. We lose focus. We forget about our goals. And then slowly and steadily, our American dream becomes American nightmare. What are those things that could make American dream become American nightmare? When you lose focus of your goal, you join bad company, and then you want instant gratification. People start getting into fraud, quick money. When you do that, your American dream will become American nightmare. But if you stay focused, no matter how hard it is, you stay focused, your American dream will come true with God's help. That's all I can say. There's a lot included in there. That means hard work, sleepless nights, you remember?
Yeah.
Working while you're going to school, it's not easy. That is staying focused and be determined. Hard work pays off. That's it. But listen to your mentors. Some of us came here, we didn't have any mentor. I did not have mentor. Sink or swim. I was learning everything by myself, making mistakes. Young immigrants now, they have no reason to make mistakes if they listen to people in front of them. The problem is they think people before them don't know better. They think we don't know as good or as much as they know. But there's something they say, experience is the best teacher. If you learn on your own, it's good, but it's costly. Why not learn from somebody's experience? But that means you have to listen to them, to their advice. So, maybe I'm jumping gun, but my advice to the immigrant to be successful, stay focused, stay on your goal, set your goal, stay focused, work hard, and stay away from bad companies.
So, please, how can immigrants plan, for their retirement?
Okay, that's a good question again. Well, long time ago, when you are hired by a company, that's what they call pension. Today, less than 1% of companies still give out pension. No more pension. What they have is a retirement plan. Some company call it 401k, some call it 403b. But no matter or regardless of what they call it, it's a retirement plan where employees are given the options of putting money away from their check, and then the company will match it. If you work for a company that gives that benefit, my advice is take advantage of it 100%. Try to, because financially it makes sense. If you don't, it's like leaving money on the table. It's like your company say, hey, if you save $200, I will give you $50. You put that away together, how much is that? That's $250. And then you get to invest those $250. You get return on it. And then the $200 or the $250 you got, you don't pay tax on it. So it's like a triple benefit. You do that for 20, 30 years, putting 10% of your money away and the company matching it, you will have enough when the time you retire. Thank God I took advantage of that. But my wife worked for a company that have pension. She's retired, she's getting pension, but I didn't get pension, but I got my 401k. We both doing very good, thank God. So to answer your question, it doesn't matter what kind of retirement plan you have. I will super emphasize saving. Save as much as you can. Spend less on things that are not necessary, like perishable material. Like, don't spend money on things that will not bring you money. Most people spend money on things that will not bring them money, but not only that, things that will take money out of their pocket. If you buy expensive car while you are still struggling, not only you took money away that you're supposed to put away for your retirement, you're going to be paying other money to support that investment. Registration, gas, insurance, name it. It's taking money from you. But if you invest some money, like instead of renting, you own your own house, not only you're paying down your house is appreciating. By the time you get to retire, you pay it off. Now you have appreciated property. And if God bless you enough to even be able to buy a second property called rental property, do it instead of investing on perishable material. Put your money where it will work for you rather than you working for your money.
We want you to please say something about culture. You know, we know it's been long. You left your home country, your native country, to the United States. Is there anything you want to say as regards culture? Like language. On our show here, we always ask, our guests to say something that has to do with their native home. Could be something in your language. Okay. Can you say anything, please?
Yoruba. My heritage is Yoruba. Like I said, my dad and mom were born in Efanlaye, born and raised in Efanlaye, Ekiti State. Hence, that make me Yoruba, Nigerian, American.
Yes, sir.
So I have dual citizen. So I'm a proud Yoruba. And Yoruba says, Ile Latinko Eshorode. In English translation, it means charity begins at home. Just because we live in a Western country, in a foreign language, foreign country, doesn't mean we have to forget our heritage, our culture. But how do you ensure that you don't forget that now that you start having children here in diaspora? The best way to ensure that is to teach your children your culture. And you can do that by starting to teach them your native language. Like everything that I've told you, I've said today, based on my personal experience. My personal experience is my wife and I kind of delinquent or fail by not teaching our children our native language, Yoruba. And I don't want the young couples, the young generation to make the same mistake that we make or that we made. Teach your children your native language. We fail to do it, but learn from our mistake. Don't make the same mistake. Teach your children your native language. The Chinese do. The Spanish do. I mean, every other culture they do. Why not us?
So please, can you give a word of advice to fellow immigrants in diaspora?
Well, my advice would be, don't forget why you left your home country. Meaning, there's got to be a reason why you left. You had a goal in mind. Follow that goal. Stay focused and stay out of bad companies. Find a good mentor. Listen to them and stay grounded spiritually. That would be my advice.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
And to my viewers, thank you for staying tuned. And I'm sure you got inspired, from the long discussion I'm just having, or I had with Mr. Peter Ashaolu. Thank you for staying tuned. For those of you that are yet to subscribe, please do. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for sharing our videos abroad. And thank you for the comments. Till we meet again. Love you all.